57 years of age, I'm living like a teenager, you know?
How can we focus on our goal that we have set without feeling too overwhelmed?
Justify my failure. That's...
Welcome to the first ever self-improvement video on Just the FYT. And we're here with Teacher Anthony, grade 8, grade 7 from American Pacific International School. He's not only a teacher, but he also a person who went through many experiences in life. And thank you, Teacher Anthony, for your time.
No worries. Thank you very much too, Ben.
Can you tell us about a difficult time in your life and how you managed to overcome it?
Well, I think through our lives, we have a lot of difficult times. Death of a loved one, also some challenges, and to be able to move on from this sort of stuff. How to overcome it? Well, it's a matter of kind of self-feeling. Sit back, think about it, then move on. Also a sickness. No, I think one of my challenges and worse is a sickness that I have, which I'm battling every day. And to overcome it is to think positive things. One of the things is for me to come to work and deal with my class and my students. That kind of helps me a lot to overcome things because it makes me forget about things and it makes me want to continue and to win the battle.
So what kind of resilience do you learn about the experience?
What I learned from it is life's short. That's it, life's short, man. And enjoy it while we can. It's one of the reasons why I live in Cambodia than Australia. I have more fun here. 57 years of age, I'm living like a teenager. You know, I get to do things that I'm not able to do in Australia. To overcome these things is, I work and I do a lot of things. Since moving here, I've met a lot of famous people, prime ministers, both of the prime ministers in Cambodia's history and presidents, Prince. That makes me overcome it by thinking, okay, what is going to be tomorrow? What is my challenge? What is my goal tomorrow? And by keep doing these things and makes me overcome these problems. Also living here in Cambodia, I look at the kids that live in the street. I look at these kids who have nothing. They eat off the rubbish. You know, they're up 1, 2 o'clock in the morning walking the streets collecting cardboard to survive. I'm coming home after a night out. That's what keeps me going, knowing that sort of stuff. That's what comes over. What my problem is nothing compared to what these. I have a bed to go to. I have milk in my fridge. I have food in my fridge. These kids don't have anything, and lucky if they can eat sometimes. So that's what makes me keep going and fight that resilience.
Why do you think people fear failure, and how can they start seeing it as a good thing?
People fear failure because they're scared of what other people are going to say to them. Yeah. They're scared that their family, friends, other colleagues will look down upon them, so they don't want to. But a lot of people learn from their failures and learn from their mistake. A failure doesn't mean that you're a worse person, you're a worse off person. It just means, okay, what your idea was and what did you want to do in that particular thing didn't work out. So now let's what we can improve. Get on there and do it again. We have a saying, fall off a horse, get back on there and ride it. So is it a failure? Listen, we've had this discussion in the classroom many times in teaching grade 8s. It's one of the hardest classes to teach because I have 22 students who have emotions who change from class to class, minute to minute because of their emotions and what life they go through. So sometimes I love teaching the class, sometimes I hate teaching that class. And the days where I hate it is because of the stress and everything the class puts me through. Then I think, wow, I'm failing because it's not working. So, as you know, as being my student, is that I constantly change all the time. So I try to combat these sort of things. I go home and I think, okay, what can I do to improve it? Not just the students, but as myself as a teacher, to be able to teach students the different ways of doing things to keep kids involved and motivated. If I keep looking at, oh, well, I failed, that's it, and give up, it's then no good. But so I learned from that mistake. So I've learned from my mistakes. I learned from these things. I look at it and say, okay, no, I haven't failed. I've actually failed doing it that particular way. Now let's look at a different way to be able to make it. We have, 2.5 months left of school. And I've seen the students from, 6-8 months ago at the beginning in August to now. I've seen a lot of people change. I've seen their attitudes change. I've seen them grow. Only in already 8 months. So, today's lesson might have been a failure. Last week's lesson might have been a failure. But a month ago, it wasn't a failure. When we come back from Christmas and that first week, it wasn't a failure. So, it's just keep looking at sort of things. So then I have to then make sure, put it into my brain. Well, look at the project. And now we're talking about this science project. I can actually say that looking at a lot of the teachers, not all teachers here, I'm proud because I did not do one thing. Not one thing except buy the stuff that you needed. You guys come up with the idea. You guys designed it. You guys put everything together. You guys put it as it is today. Yes, last week I stressed because I couldn't see it. Looking at it today, I see it. But I see that it helps you grow as a team. I see leadership come out of you.
Yeah.
So am I a failure at doing this?
No.
Right. So no, because watching you grow now, knowing that teaching you is that teaching you become a leader of the future. Okay? The future of Cambodia. That's what I see out of you. So then I go home and then I think, no, I didn't fail. I just sometimes fail on certain things. Learn from the mistake, I won't do it again, and keep going.
What do you classify as your failure?
What do I classify my failure? That's a hard question because that's a very personal question which I could never tell anybody about. But I think what is my biggest failure is probably not becoming what I wanted to be when I was your age. And that was a pirate. But is it a failure? Because look at what I am today. Look what I've done in my life.
Yeah.
So if I classify that as a failure, though I didn't become a pilot, I have become a chef, I've owned my business, I've become a security, bodyguard, armed guard, news reporter, school teacher. I've done so much in my life. So is it a failure?
Not really.
Not really.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard to say because if I become a pilot, my experience in life, I wouldn't meet these guys. I would probably not be in Cambodia.
True.
Yeah. So, yes, I fail at a lot of things, but do I classify it as a full failure? No. No, because I could still get up and hold my head up high. I don't care what people think a lot of times. I am who I am. You either like me or you don't. If you don't like me, I don't tell you to be around me. You have no choice because you're my spirit. But general with what friends I have is they want to be around me because of who I am. And I have met, once again, both prime ministers of Cambodia, a priest, a few royalties, and I've seen them quite often, some ministers. So it's hard to say it. They enjoy me or get invited to these things. There's obviously a reason.
What advice would you give someone that is struggling to turn motivation into consistent action?
Motivation is a very hard thing for people that have every day of life. We'll all have our own problems. We'll all have our own challenges. There's always something put in a roadblock. Everyone is different. your challenges and everything is different from mine and from the rest of the students. In our class we have 22. So that's 22 different personalities, 22 different challenges, 22 different motivations. Okay? Everyone has different ways. I think is to find out more about that person to be able to help them to get motivated. Because how I can help you to get motivated will different from what perceived motivation would be. Different what Socrates' motivation. A classic example, I'll give Socrates as a classic example. Before Christmas, yes, it was a horrible trial because he didn't know where his place was in the classroom. Okay? He tried to be so much. After Christmas, it changed so much that he mightn't be the top in academic in the classroom, but as in personality and trying hard, he's one of the top students now in the classroom because of that reason. And that's just now encouraging him and giving the motivation by telling him, and I've said it quite often, and even in the report, that he's the most improved student since Christmas break, as in doing stuff. So I'm sure by hearing that sort of stuff, will teacher must give you motivation on kid do it, kid be better and succeeding. To motivate, you need to let people know the things they're doing right. Now, I mean, you can speak to many people and you can speak to like Tony Robbins and everything else. I think we all have our own different ways. I think to get someone motivated, you must give them their bad things and their good things, what they're doing well. Yeah, I think people need to know sometimes and it doesn't mean yelling and screaming at them. Just point out some of the things that they're in the bad direction they're going, and start giving them the right direction. Okay? And then put yourself in their shoes and put yourself in someone else's shoes. Remember, you come to school to learn English. There's a kid out there that can't even eat. Put yourself in their shoes. That should be a good enough motivation alone to knowing that while you're getting an education, you can get something, as that kid will never have that education. But what that kid will have that you don't have will be a different kind of happiness. What the biggest mistake people make, and I do it myself, we set our goals too high. They're not realistic. We have to look at it. Each person is able to do certain things because it's their ability and their strength and what's in their mind, how strong is their mind. Yeah. We have to set goals, and it's like baby steps. When we learn to walk, we learn little bit, little bit, and little bit. When we rush into something, we're just going to fall over. Okay? Yeah. Setting goals is exactly the same thing. Set a goal, daily goal. Every day, I must get up at 6 o'clock every morning. Not 5 past, not 10 past, quarter past. Set that goal, because usually I don't get up to 10 o'clock. So my goal is now 6 o'clock. My goal is to have breakfast every morning. Then make sure I'm at work or at school or anything. Then once you kind of get those goals done, then set weekly goals. But once again, don't set out that I'm going to lose 5 kilos in 1 week. Because in reality, you put so much pressure on yourself, you'll set yourself up to fail. Yes, you're setting up just to fail. And then, of course, there goes your confidence. And then it goes back to almost to the, your second question is, how can you encourage someone to keep going when I just keep failing? Well, you set yourself up to fail. Set yourself up to succeed. Yeah, you dream now at your age, I want to be a pilot. I want to be a politician. I want to be Prime Minister. Yes, you can have them as certain goals, but get your little baby steps. We did the course today on Mozart, 4 years of age. He's playing the piano. By 10, he had set all that up. Yeah. That's natural talent. That's something we just can't wake up and say, that's what's happening. You have to have special talents to get to those people. And there are people who have special goals and a special ability to be able to do that. So don't set yourself up to fail. Set yourself with small goals. And then when you know how to succeed, then you can work out bigger goals. Then you can say, okay, well, I'm doing this with these. Now I'm going through that I'm losing weight. It's taking me 2.5 months to lose 9 kilos. Hasn't been easy. But I had put myself, okay, this is only 2 or 3 kilos a month. because I'm not going to the gym. All I'm doing is changing my diet a little bit. Give up smoking. It's the same thing. I've given up smoking by, okay, I'm doing vape, which is still bad, but that's my little step, because if I give up completely, I'm setting myself to fail, because I know I won't do it. I know I will fail to a certain degree. So then I've got to keep myself positive. Okay, I won't fail. But through the stresses, everything else, and then I'll make excuses. Why did I fail?
Do you find it hard to quit smoking, and why?
Oh, of course it is. It is. It's an addiction. It's a horrible addiction. Why? Is because it's a drug. Smoking is a drug. Your body needs it. Then, after a little while, your body doesn't need the nicotine anymore, okay? But it needs the habit. Now, unfortunately, my mother did get sick from smoking. She got emphysema. She had a lung transplant, and because of lung transplant, she lived another 7 to 8 years after that. But then, unfortunately, of course, she passed away. I gave up there. I went cold turkey. I actually stopped completely, and I know how much of a bad person I turned into, right? And that's why the second time is been harder, knowing that I turned into a bad person and everyone around me suffered. So it's hard to say, okay, I'm not going to do that, because it's not. So when I gave up that time, I would get into my car, I would drive to work. I'd hit a certain spot on the way to work. I'm thinking, I've left something. I'll turn around, go back home, and I couldn't work out what I left behind until I realised one day that was the spot I used to have a cigarette. So that's why it says it's the habit. It's hard to give up. Then, of course, when I have a cup of coffee, I'd have a cigarette. So, of course, I'm drinking my coffee and thinking, am I hungry? No hungry, what do I need? It's not that I was hungry. That's when I have my cigarette. So then, that's what I mean. So that's why I changed here. So I changed my route. So in my car, instead of going the same way, I'll change the different ways. So I wouldn't go past that point as where I have a cigarette all the time. I'd go, when I eat, I'd change my times a little bit. I just changed my routine a little bit that helped me give up. This time it's a little bit harder for me because I'm teaching and I've got students and everything else. So it's a little bit harder for me to give up smoking, so I'm doing other ways. I think once you're smoking, you're always a smoker. It's like an alcoholic. Once you're an alcoholic, you're always an alcoholic. I gave up for nearly 11 years, and just one day I started again. And then 2 years later, I'm still, I still smoked. Now I'm going through a process of stopping. You have to want to give up smoking too. Yes. If you don't want to give up smoking, no. I know many people who keep smoking and say, I want to give up, but they never do because they really don't want to give up. Yeah, sure.
How can we focus on our goal that we have set without feeling too overwhelmed?
Okay, the way to do it is to get yourself in the right route, get yourself in that right space. Like I said before, it's to know your limits. Yeah, okay? To know your limits. And once you keep getting to those limits, every other goal will come easy because you know what your capability is. Okay? You know your left foot, you wake up every morning, your right foot goes down, or your left foot goes down first, then you start climbing. Then you start putting the challenges in front of you to make things a little bit difficult, but not something that you have to climb a mountain. You climb one step at a time is easier than climbing a mountain.
Thank you, Teacher Anthony, for your time. And I hope the viewers learned something from you and your valuable lessons.
No, thank you very much. Just a great time and some great questions to hope picture. And guys, don't forget, make sure you subscribe, otherwise I'm coming out looking for you. Okay, here, very much. Here.